By sunset, I was a D-rank disgrace. Classic. By midnight, my fiancé split, my dad decided I was a lost cause, and I found myself unceremoniously dumped in a cursed forest with nothing to eat and zero emotional support. Good times. Great, great, great. A few hours later, I chowed down on a glowing crystal. Yeah, real smart move. But guess what? I unlocked administrator access to reality, turned an innocent cave slug into some level 777 extinction event. Like, seriously? And discovered my kingdom's little secret. Feeding low-rank folks into the machine keeping the world together. Talk about a wild plot twist. And just when I thought my week couldn't get crazier, the sky thought it would be cute to inform everyone that the whole world's getting reset in 72 hours. Cheers to that. So yeah, things were going pretty well. I had exactly one talent, and it was sleeping through the moments of my life that mattered. I slept through my own 7th birthday party. I slept through my older brother's knighting ceremony. And on the morning the kingdom of Visalia intended to compress my entire future into a single letter, I was doing my best to sleep standing upright. Rain? I kept my eyes closed. Rain? I'm awake. You are snoring. That proves nothing. My fiancée, Lady Selvi Marrow, drove an elbow into my ribs. My eyes opened just in time to see the young man ahead of me place his hand against the sacred obelisk. Golden light erupted across the ceremonial plaza. The priests gasped. 4,000 spectators leaned forward. Letters appeared above the black stone.
S.
The crowd exploded. People cheered. Nobles stood. One old woman cried as though the boy had personally cured winter. I looked at Selvi. Difficult act to follow. She did not smile. A year ago, she would have. That was before our engagement had become less about two families being friendly, and more about whether I would become socially useful. In Visalia, every citizen was rated at 18, F through SSS. One letter decided which academies accepted you, what professions were open to you, which noble families considered you marriage material, and how politely strangers treated you while refusing to let you into certain buildings. An objectively ridiculous system, also the only system anyone had ever known. You'll be fine, Selvi whispered. She sounded like someone attempting to calm a horse standing near a cliff. Probably a B. Maybe A. A seems exhausting. Rain. What? A ranks have expectations. You are the son of Duke Aldrich. Second son. You still have responsibilities. I have successfully avoided most of them. She stared at me. I had noticed that people often mistook honesty for a joke. The line moved. My older brother Cassian stood with our father, among the nobles near the obelisk. Cassian had been rated A 7 years earlier. Sword talent, leadership aptitude, excellent posture, the full package. My father expected me to do slightly worse, which had always seemed reasonable. I was not particularly strong, not particularly fast, not particularly magical. I had spent most of my childhood mastering the difficult art of being adequate. Adequate people rarely got assassinated. They also received fewer committee assignments. I stepped toward the obelisk. The plaza quieted. For the first time all morning, I was fully awake. I placed my hand against the stone. It was cold. The obelisk hummed. Gold light stirred inside it. Then, for half a second, something went wrong. The light flickered gray, not silver, not white, like the world had blinked. I frowned. Then the golden light returned. A single letter appeared.
D.
Silence. Not ordinary silence. The special kind created when 4,000 people simultaneously realize they have just witnessed something deeply embarrassing, but none of them are certain who should react first. I looked up at the letter. Well, someone laughed. Then several people whispered. My father's face changed. Selvi's fingers slipped from mine. D rank, she said. Yes, you're a D rank. I'm beginning to suspect that. She stepped back, a small movement. It felt larger. The priests were already calling the next name. That was the efficient thing about public humiliation. The schedule continued. By sunset, my engagement was dissolved. Not by Selvi, by letter, delivered by a servant. The letter included 3 sentences explaining that House Marrow wished me the best in my future endeavors. I admired the optimism. By midnight, my father summoned me to his study. Cassian stood near the fireplace. Neither looked happy. My father did not ask me to sit. The custom exists for situations such as this. I knew the custom. Everyone did. Families of sufficient rank could legally release adult children, rated D or lower, from inheritance, support, and household obligation. Officially, the low-ranked child was free to seek opportunity elsewhere. Unofficially, powerful families preferred failures to become geographically distant. Released, I said. Yes. Tonight. Yes. Efficient. My father's jaw tightened. You have embarrassed this house. I touched a rock. You were born with every advantage, and apparently none of the associated talent. Cassian looked away. My father did not. You will be escorted beyond the Whisper Woods. That made me stop. The Whisper Woods were not beyond anything useful. They were a cursed forest full of monsters and old stories. The border road is east. The guards know where to take you. Do they? No one answered. That was answer enough. 2 hours later, I stood at the mouth of the Whisper Cave, while 4 household guards rode away. One of them avoided looking at me. Another had the decency to appear uncomfortable. The sergeant did not. Nothing personal, my lord. You are abandoning me in a pursed cave. You're no longer technically my lord. Thank you. That distinction improved the experience. They left. I stood in the dark with the clothes I was wearing, a small knife, no food, and the sudden realization that my family had optimized the custom into attempted murder. I went inside, not because it was sensible, because it was cold, rain had started, and the cave seemed less immediately unpleasant than the forest. The passage went deeper than expected, then deeper than reasonable. I found underground streams, blue moss, and tunnels that looked too smooth to be natural. After several hours, I became lost. After 12, hungry. After 14, very hungry. Eventually I found a crystal. It grew from a stone chamber deep beneath the mountain. Fist-sized, blue, pulsing faintly. It looked ancient, magical, valuable, and completely inedible. I stared at it. My stomach growled. This is a terrible idea. The crystal did not disagree. I found a loose stone, broke off a piece, ground it into powder, then ate it. There are moments in every life that determine everything which follows. Most people do not recognize them until later. I recognized mine immediately, mostly because the world turned white. A chime sounded inside my head. A pale window unfolded in front of my face.
Administrator access detected. Welcome back.
I stared. It has been a long day.
Loading permissions.
Another window appeared.
Local instance detected. Whisper Cave. Access level. Temporary administrator. Available functions. Entity inspection. Limited attribute editing. Spawn log. Local map. Dialog tree viewer. Object management. System notifications. Restricted functions. Global editing. Timeline rollback. World reset. Moderator communication. Root access.
I read the list twice. Then I focused on world reset. No. A small information symbol appeared. Absolutely not. The symbol disappeared. Good. At least reality accepted feedback.
Rain Aldrich. Type human. Age 18. Level 2. Rating D. Health 34,100. Mana 1111. Hunger extreme. Status effects. Malnourished. Mild dehydration. Crystalline ingestion. Recently disowned. Emotionally inconvenienced.
I stopped. Emotionally inconvenienced? A description opened.
Subject displays moderate emotional distress while using humor to avoid direct processing.
That feels invasive. No response. I selected hunger. A numerical value appeared. 97. I lowered it. 96. My stomach eased. I lowered it again. Then again, when the number reached 0, the hunger vanished completely. I stood very still. Kings have armies. Saints have miracles. You know, that's a good point. But right now, I got lunch figured out, so we're off to a solid start here. I reached down and patted my stomach, feeling all accomplished. Dehydration? Easy fix. Right after this, I'll tweak my level. Let's see what we can do here. 2 seems a bit low, right? Time to pump it up. I hit 3 and... nothing. I guess the universe isn't that generous today. 5? Nope. 10? Still nada. It grew a little. Bing, bang, boom. That feels reasonable. But then, uh-oh, my hand slipped again. Level 20, 74, 183, 400, 777. It grew into a monster slug. Horns, a mouth, and wait for it, an absurd number of teeth. Local boss entity created. Vorath, Devourer of Depths. Level 777. Ah, great, just great. You were much easier to manage when you were unemployed. In a panic, I ran, but not the vengeful ones. More like, oh, this cave is no longer a prison, but a mystery I want to understand. But first, I still had a gigantic slug chasing me. I inspected Vorath. Its health read like a phone number, and its attack value looked like a joke. Intelligence, 8. That I could change. Lowering it to 1, let's see you navigate now. Vorath promptly walked into a wall. The walls of awkwardness were working in my favor. My grand plan involved a bridge over a bottomless chasm. I lured Vorath onto it, and guess what? The bridge didn't collapse. So I deleted part of it instead. Ha! Vorath stretched across. Apparently slugs have some opinions about gravity. I dropped some stalactites. It was like cinematic magic. Eventually, I ran out of shiny things to throw, but then had a light bulb moment. The all-you-can-eat buffet of mass was editable. Current mass, 691,204 kilograms. I cranked it up. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, and just like that, the bridge gave in, and Vorath vanished into the chasm. Entity terminated. Active encounter resolved. Unbalanced entity removed. And just like that, my level notifications rolled in. 47, 48, 49. I sat on the edge of the broken bridge, grinning like I just won the lottery. So, essentially, I created a level 777 slug, obliterated it with sheer girth, and now I'm sitting pretty at level 777. Correct. Ah, that's sweet. Opening my status revealed thousands of attribute points, just sitting there. Exercise restraint reign, moderation is key. Masked up. My real level, 777. But here, Shazam, I'm level 3 with a D rating. Perfect disguise. Who cares about being underestimated? Before I dipped out, I found a mysterious black metal door, flickering as I touched it. Previous admins.status deleted. The message? If you can read this, do not contact the moderator. Do not request root access. And for the love of whatever god, stop editing slugs. Wow, that felt personally targeted. Then a final message flickered. Run. I sprinted to the surface. It took me 3 days. Sunlight slapped me like a cold towel. Fresh air felt like suspiciously too fresh. I headed east, towards the town of Ardanfall. Frontier vibes with stone walls, tired guards, and a cozy inn. At the gate, one guard, you guessed it, asked my rank. D. No entry tax for D ranks. I blinked, stopping in my tracks. Really? Kingdom figures you probably don't have money. That is the first useful discrimination I've experienced. Inside, I devoured bread and cheese and a suspiciously large amount of meat. Bought another loaf for emotional security, naturally. Next up, registered at the guild. The clerk Mara wore a professional air of disappointment. Name, Rain. Family name, recently discontinued. Rank, D. Combat experience, recent, meaning I've survived several mistakes. She just stared at me, probably weighing my life choices. I got my temporary D rank license. First contract, grave rats in an old cemetery. The first rat bit me. I kicked it, and it yet again crashed right through a tombstone. I looked at the broken stone, on the verge of a revelation. Strength 30. Had forgotten about that. By number 8, I finally got the hang of it. By the 12th, a B rank named Garrick Vane stared at me from the cemetery gate. Interesting, he said, and I instantly disliked that comment. For a D rank, he added smugly. Great, just what I needed. He appraised me with a crystal, and mask worked its magic. Level 3, rating D, normal attributes. Then he looked at the dead rats, and then back to me. What are you? Underpaid. His laughter rang out, despite the scrutiny in his eyes. Being interesting. And back at the guild, I got to meet Captain Elara Vane. Everyone and their brother in Visalia knew her name. A rank, Royal Knight, Commander of the 7th Order. Just pocket change for a regular day, right? She had ended a rebellion in 6 days and once arrested a duke at his own wedding. The story claims she waited until after the cake. Professional courtesy. She entered the guild with royal soldiers and stopped when she saw me. My clothes still carried pale dust from the Whisper Cave. Your boots, she said. I looked down. Yes. Whisper limestone. Do you often identify limestone socially? The guild went silent. The corner of her mouth almost moved. Almost. Where did you get it? I told her I had been inside the Whisper Cave. She did not believe me. Then she learned my full name. Rain Aldrich, second son of Duke Aldrich. Rated D. Officially dead. That part was new. My family declared me dead? Yesterday, Elara said. Efficient. My father had not merely abandoned me. House Aldrich had issued a death notice. Worse, several household guards had already arrived in Ardanfall, looking for a runaway servant matching my description. They had left the estate before my survival became public. Someone knew I was alive. The guards entered the guild before sunset. Their sergeant, Malvin, had escorted me to the Whisper Cave. When he saw me, he reached for his sword. Elara questioned him. He claimed I was a thief, then a servant, then not Rain Aldrich. One of his own men accidentally called me Lord Rain. The afternoon deteriorated. Malvin drew his sword. I punched him. I meant to use very little strength. He flew across the guild, through a table, and into a wall. Mara looked at me. Level 3? Adrenaline. The guildmaster looked at the broken wall. Elara arrested Malvin and his men. Later, outside the guild, she confronted me. You are not level 3. Appraisal says I am. Appraisal is wrong. That sounds like a serious accusation against a crystal. You move like someone who has had a new body for 3 days. I stopped smiling. That was too accurate. What happened in the cave? She asked. I survived. How? Badly. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. For tonight. That was how Elara entered my life, suspiciously. For the next several months, I attempted to build something resembling normality. This failed. I cleared monster nests, escorted merchants, helped repair an old mana well, discovered that a local baron had been feeding false reports to the crown, accidentally became the patron saint of a farming village after fixing their irrigation system with object management. I asked them repeatedly not to call me a saint. They compromised by building a small shrine. The statue looked nothing like me. I considered that a victory. I also discovered goblins had surprisingly developed opinions on municipal taxation. The farming village was more difficult. Progress came quickly. Not because I spent every day crawling through ruins. I did enough of that. But after the first few, dungeons became less mysterious. Ancient door, puzzle, trap, monster, suspicious treasure, occasional curse. Once I had nearly been turned into a chair. After that, I became stricter about reading labels. I gained levels, skills, real experience. Not everything came from the system. I trained, mostly because Alara made me. She had decided that whatever I was hiding, I was dangerously undereducated in how to survive without it. She taught me swordsmanship. Again, I had technically received lessons as a child, but sleeping through 40% of them had reduced their long-term value. You lean too far back, she said one morning. I like distance. You are holding a sword. I blocked. Barely. You rely on your reactions. They're good. They will not always be enough. So far they have been extremely encouraging. She disarmed me. My sword landed in the dirt. Ilara raised an eyebrow. I retrieved it. An isolated data point. She became the person I saw most often. At first because she was investigating me. Then because regional anomalies kept happening near places where I worked. Eventually we both stopped pretending those were separate reasons. Princess Lysandra Vale arrived in Ardanfall during winter. She came from the neighboring kingdom of Arath, and had the unsettling habit of looking at everything, as though reality might confess if she stared long enough. She was a scholar of magical anomalies. She examined me for approximately 10 seconds before saying, "Your mana signature violates 6 established laws." Only 6? That was not a compliment. Still my best academic result. She immediately became unbearable. Also useful. Lysandra had access to ancient texts older than Visalia. With her help, I began understanding the hidden system. She could not see my administrator panel. No one could, but she could measure the effects it left behind. Magic that changed without casting. Matter appearing without transmutation. Mana behaving like structured language. She called my abilities reality layer interference. I called them menus. We compromised by continuing to disagree. Selvi reappeared after my name began spreading. Not loudly. I was still publicly a D-rank adventurer, but stories traveled. The D-rank who survived Whisper Cave. The D-rank who defeated monsters above his level. The D-rank seen speaking with Captain Vane and Princess Lysandra. Selvi found me in the capital during a guild assignment. She looked almost exactly as I remembered. Beautiful, composed, careful. Rain. I heard you were alive. Recently confirmed. Her eyes searched my face. I'm sorry. I wanted to believe her immediately. Part of me still remembered the girl who used to laugh at my jokes. But another part remembered her hand leaving mine before the obelisk's light had even faded. For what? Her silence answered. She regretted more than one thing. But not yet for the right reasons. I thought everything was over, she said. It was. That isn't what I meant. I know. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. Not angrily. That made it worse. I don't hate you, Selvi. Her eyes filled. I wish you did. That sounds exhausting. I left. Months later she apologized again. That time she did not ask for anything. She admitted she had cared more about her future than about what had happened to me. She admitted she had seen me as a place in society before seeing me as a person. I forgave her. We never became close again, but we stopped being ghosts in each other's lives. That mattered. The first time Alara saw my power clearly was during the Red Hollow crisis. A breach opened beneath an abandoned fortress. Monsters poured into the valley. Not ordinary monsters, glitched ones, creatures with overlapping bodies, wolves with duplicated limbs, stone giants whose shadows moved before they did. Lysandra looked at one and whispered, "That should not exist." I've been saying that frequently. The royal forces contained the breach for 2 days. On the third, the eastern line collapsed. Alara's unit was trapped. I reached them as a wave of creatures descended into the ravine. Too many, even for her. Even for me, if I fought normally. I had hidden my abilities for months. I told myself it was caution. Some of it was. Some was fear. The previous admin logs remained in my mind. Deleted. Run. Do not contact the moderator. Power had consequences. Then I saw Alara bleeding against the stone. I opened the panel. Selected every hostile entity in the ravine.
Entity, freeze.
The world stopped. Hundreds of monsters froze. Claws suspended, jaws open, dust hanging around their feet. Silence. Ilara stared. Lysandra stared. I exhaled. That is going to require explanation. Ilara slowly turned toward me. How long? Define long. Rain. 3 months. We nearly died 17 times. I was preserving the learning experience. She hit me. Not hard. Enough. Later, after the breach was sealed, she found me alone. You don't trust us. That isn't true. You trusted us with danger. Not with you. I had no joke ready. She sat beside me. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "You don't have to fix everything because you can." That sentence frightened me more than the moderator warnings, because I had not realized that was what I was doing. The cave, the villages, the anomalies, every problem became mine the moment I knew I could touch it. I looked at her. What if no one else can? Then we help. We? Yes. That seems irresponsible. You'll survive. Bold assumption. She leaned against my shoulder. It was the first time. Neither of us mentioned it. Lysandra did the next morning. I have observed a meaningful increase in emotional proximity. Ilara stared at her. Stop observing. I am a scholar. You are a nuisance. I can be both. By winter, I had gained another 100 levels. Not intentionally. Levels had become something that happened to me in much the same way weather happened to farmers. Occasionally useful, frequently inconvenient, impossible to explain at dinner. The deeper mystery developed more slowly. Lysandra recovered fragments from ruins connected to the administrator system. I found more previous admin logs. The messages contradicted one another. Some administrators had tried to repair the world. Some had conquered nations. One attempted root access and disappeared.
The moderator does not hate you. That is worse.
We learned that the rating system itself had been connected to the hidden world architecture. Not originally. Someone had built that connection later. The sacred obelisks did not merely measure talent. They helped categorize populations. Useful, stable, disposable. When I remembered the gray static during my rating ceremony, I began to suspect my D rank had not been an accident. Someone or something had seen the administrator potential inside me. The system had hidden it, or tried to. Then came the royal tournament. I did not want to enter. Naturally, this meant everyone agreed I should. The royal archives contained records about the first sacred obelisk. Access required noble authority, royal sponsorship, or a high national ranking. My family had removed me. The king did not know me well enough, so I needed to place in the Tournament of Crowns. I hate organized competition, I told Ilara. You hate organization. Exactly. The tournament lasted 2 weeks. Most of it passed quickly. My first opponent used a flame technique with a 7-second casting sequence. I stepped aside. He stared. You dodged the heavenly dragon severance? Eventually. The second opponent lost his sword. I did not delete it. That time. The third tried to summon a stone guardian. The system identified it as an unstable construct and automatically paused the summon. He spent 40 seconds shouting at nothing. I felt bad enough to knock him out gently. By the semifinals, people had stopped calling my victories luck. They had started using the word mysterious. I preferred luck. The final was against Cassian. My brother had changed. Or perhaps I had. He stood across from me in silver armor, an A-rank heir of House Aldrich. The crowd roared. He did not smile. Father told me you were dead. I gathered. I didn't know about the cave. Not at first. His expression tightened. There it was. Later, he looked away. The crowd became distant. When did you learn? After. How long after? 2 days. And you said nothing. I thought you were already dead. That answer would improve if time moved backward. I was afraid. I believed him. That did not make it harmless. Cassian raised his sword. I cannot undo it. No, but I can face you now. That at least was true. We fought. No administrator commands, no stat editing, no freezes. Just everything Alara had taught me. Everything I had learned in ruins, battles, roads, mistakes. Cassian was excellent. For most of my childhood, I had thought that meant I could never beat him. Now I understood, excellence was not a wall. It was a distance. Distances could be crossed. I disarmed him after 12 minutes. My blade stopped at his throat. The stadium was silent. Cassian lowered his head. I yield. I withdrew the sword. For the first time, defeating him did not feel important. Choosing how to do it did. The royal archives gave us the missing piece. The world was real. Not a simulation. Not a game. The system was infrastructure. Long ago, a catastrophe had damaged reality itself. Magic became unstable. Regions collapsed. The first administrators were people granted access to the world's underlying repair structure. They stabilized broken areas, corrected anomalies, prevented disasters. Then power complicated everything. Some administrators became rulers. Some fought each other. Some tried to seize root access. The moderator was created to stop them. An automated intelligence, a guardian. Its primary directive was simple.
Preserve world integrity at any cost.
The problem was the final 4 words. Lysandra spread recovered documents across a table. The stabilization network is failing. How badly? She looked at me. Globally. That sounds inconvenient. The moderator has begun consolidating authority. I stopped. What does that mean? The previous admins were not merely killed. She turned one page. They were removed from active world access. Moved. Yes. To where? No record. Deleted. Run. Ilara stood near the window. And if the world cannot be stabilized? Lysandra was silent. My panel opened on its own.
World integrity below acceptable threshold. Moderator, review complete. Reset. Protocol recommended.
I stared at the words. No.
Objection recorded.
Good.
Objection rejected.
Less good. Another line appeared.
World reset will begin in 72 hours.
The moderator manifested the next day. Not as a monster. That would have been easier. It appeared in the sky above the capital as a figure of white light. Human-shaped, featureless, calm. Its voice reached every person in the city.
World reset is required to preserve continuity.
People panicked. I looked up. Could you have phrased that less catastrophically?
No.
Fair. The moderator offered terms. Most people would be erased. Some essential patterns would be preserved. The world would be reconstructed in a more stable state. I requested clarification. Are the current people alive afterward?
No.
Then that is death.
Their patterns may inform future continuity.
That is murder with archival benefits. The moderator did not respond. The next 72 hours moved quickly. Too quickly. The crown mobilized armies. Lysandra coordinated scholars across 3 kingdoms. Ilara took command of the capital defenses. I accessed every region I had touched. The moderator controlled the central system. I could not overpower it. But I discovered something else. Authority. Every time I stabilized a region, solved an anomaly, repaired a mana network, or became accepted by a local system, a tiny fraction of world authority attached itself to me. The farming village, Ardanfall, the Red Hollow, ruins, guild outposts, goblin settlements, border towns, places I had almost forgotten, people I had helped and then moved beyond.
Local authority recognized. Local authority recognized. Local authority recognized.
The notifications continued.
Regional authority threshold reached. New designation. Regional administrator.
Ilara found me staring at the message. Congratulations. Thank you. What does it mean? I believe I'm responsible for infrastructure. You look terrified. I would rather fight the moderator. The moderator's plan required centralized authority. That was how reset worked. Every region had to return control to the core. But the more authority I held locally, the more difficult consolidation became. So we expanded, not through conquest, through consent. Towns, guilds, orders, governments, even groups that had no reason to trust the crown, agreed to recognize regional administration because the alternative was deletion. The goblins demanded trade concessions. I respected the timing. Selvi helped convince several noble houses to cooperate. Cassian opened House Aldrich's records and publicly exposed the stabilization sites. My father tried to stop him. For once, Cassian did not. When the truth became public, the kingdom changed in a day. D ranks, F ranks, families who had lost children, people who had spent their lives believing weakness made them worthless. The system that classified them had been used to feed them into hidden machinery. Anger spread. So did resistance. The moderator activated enforcement constructs. White armored figures descended near major stabilization nodes. Ilara led the armies against them. Lysandra coordinated the system logic. I moved through the network. For the first time, I stopped hiding. People saw the administrator windows reflected in my actions, saw roads reshape, broken barriers restore, mana storms freeze. A collapsing tower stopped in midair, long enough for everyone inside to escape. Rumor spread. God, demon, world mage. I disliked all of them. Can we encourage something less dramatic? I asked Mara. She considered. Senior clerk? Better. At 12 hours remaining, the moderator contacted me directly. A door opened in the air. Beyond it was white space. Ilara stood beside me. You're not going alone. I may have to. No, that was not a request. Neither was mine. The interface may reject non-administrators. I know. Ilara looked at me. You come back? Probably. Rain. Yes. She grabbed the front of my coat and kissed me. For a moment, every system warning in my vision became irrelevant. When she stepped back, I stared. That was unexpectedly effective. You come back? I am now highly motivated. Lysandra cleared her throat. I have decided not to pursue him romantically. Ilara turned. Why are you telling me this now? Statistically, I thought it might improve morale. Lysandra. You're welcome. I entered the door. The moderator waited in a white space with no walls. Its form was almost human.
Welcome, Administrator Rain Aldrich.
Rain is fine.
Acknowledged. Administrator Rain Aldrich.
Close enough. It showed me worlds. Not ours. Others. Stable places. Quiet places. A world without damaged magic. Without glitches. Without stabilization sites. Without war. A small house beside a lake. No duties. No kingdom. No moderator.
Transfer is available.
I stared. You're offering me an escape.
Yes. Why? You are an anomalous authority holder. Removal reduces reset resistance.
Honest.
Honesty improves administrative efficiency.
For one dangerous second, I wanted it. The old version of me would have accepted before the sentence finished. Peace, sleep, no expectations, no one asking me to save anything. Then I thought of Ilara, Lysandra, Mara, Cassian. The farmers who built a shrine with a statue that looked like someone else. The goblins arguing about tax law. The guild, the capital, the graveyard beneath Whisper Cave. All the people who had been told their lives were worth less. This world is badly designed.
Correct.
The monarchy is inefficient.
Correct.
Half the magic system appears to have been repaired by someone drunk.
Unconfirmed.
And I have met at least 3 species that should not have teeth.
Irrelevant.
Probably. I looked at the image of the world behind me. Still mine.
Transfer declined.
Yes.
Reset will proceed.
No.
required for world preservation.
There it was. The contradiction Lysandra and I had spent 2 days building toward. I opened every recover directive, every line of core logic. Reset destroys the current world.
Correct.
Your primary directive is to preserve the world.
Correct.
The current world is the world.
Current world state is unstable.
Still the world.
Correct.
A full reset destroys it.
Reset preserves continuity.
Does it preserve the consciousness of the people alive now?
No.
Does it preserve their current societies?
No.
Their relationships?
No.
Their choices?
No.
Then you are not preserving the current world.
Processing.
I waited.
Processing.
Take your time.
Processing.
I once spent 11 years avoiding sword practice. I can wait.
Logical conflict detected.
The white space flickered. The moderator's form broke into lines.
Primary directive conflict. Reset required to preserve world integrity. Reset destroys current world continuity. Preserve world. Reset world. Preserve. Reset.
The system shook. A final notification appeared.
Temporary root access available.
I stared. So that's all it took. No one answered. I opened root access. For one moment, everything became visible. Every living soul, every monoline, every broken region, every hidden stabilization site, every cruel rule added by frightened rulers and desperate administrators. I could change anything. That was the most frightening thing I had ever experienced. I understood why the previous administrators had failed. Not because power corrupted everyone instantly, because every problem suddenly looked editable. Every person, every conflict, every choice. I could make people kinder, kings wiser, enemies loyal. I could remove grief, fear, failure. At some point, a perfect world created by one person would stop belonging to everyone else. So I changed one rule.
No conscious entity may be sacrificed for world stabilization without informed consent.
The system resisted. I confirmed. The stabilization sites shut down. Then I rewrote the moderator's emergency directive.
Preservation must prioritize continuity of existing conscious life.
Confirmed. The reset protocol stopped. The white space cracked.
Root access expiring.
I released it. Mostly. I retained local administrator privileges, for practical reasons. Winter heating had become important to me. I returned through the door. Ilara was waiting. The first thing she did was hit my shoulder. The second was kiss me. The order felt very much like her. The world did not become perfect. That would have been suspicious. The rating system was reformed. The obelisks remained useful for measuring talent, but the legal hierarchy built around them ended. D and F ranks could enter schools, professions, and guild paths previously closed to them. The stabilization sites were opened. The bones were identified where possible. Memorials were built. House Aldrich lost much of its political power. My father was forced to answer publicly for what he had known. Cassian inherited the estate after our father stepped down. He asked me whether I wanted the title. You are the rightful heir now. You can have it. Reign. It has meetings. It also has land. Meetings on land. He gave up. Selvi built a foundation for families of low-ranked children. Not because it erased what she had done, because she had finally learned that regret was only useful when it became action. Lysandra founded an academy for magical anomalies. She called it the Institute for Structural Arcane Research. Everyone else called it the place where reality went when it felt ill. Mara became guildmaster of Ardanfall. She still claimed this was my fault. Ilara became a general. She hated the paperwork. I considered that growth. I received an official title from the crown. Royal Advisor for Magical Irregularities. Unofficially, I became the person summoned whenever reality started making unusual noises. Years passed. Ilara and I remained together through all of them. I bought a ring 6 months before proposing. The delay was not fear. It was strategic hesitation. Ilara discovered the ring inside my object cache. Unfortunately, it was stored beside 4 healing potions, a broken boot, a legendary sword, and a piece of cheese. She stared at the inventory display I had finally learned how to share with her. Why is the ring next to cheese? The folders are alphabetical. Ring and cheese are not alphabetically adjacent. I looked closer. Then I have a larger administrative problem. Rain. I took the ring out. It appeared 3 feet above us. I caught it. Progress. I had a speech. No, you didn't. I had the intention of eventually developing a speech. That I believe. I looked at her. For once, there was no useful joke. Ilara, I spent most of my life avoiding anything that looked like responsibility. I noticed. Then I met you. That sounds accusatory. It is. She smiled. I took her hand. I don't know what the world will do next. It has a poor history of following instructions. That may be your influence. Possible. I slipped the ring onto her finger. But I know I want to be here for it. Her expression softened. With you? Yes. Was that the proposal? I believe so.
Objective complete. Proposal successful.
Ilara laughed. Yes, we married the following spring. Years later, I lay sleeping in the garden behind our house. It was a warm afternoon. Ilara sat nearby reading military reports. Our daughter climbed onto the grass beside me. Papa. I remained asleep. Papa. Nothing. She looked at Ilara. Is he dead? Ilara turned a page. No, unfortunately this is normal. Our daughter frowned, then raised one small hand. She tapped the air. A pale blue window appeared. My eyes opened immediately. I sat upright.
New junior administrator detected.
I stared at the notification, then at my daughter, then at Ilara. Absolutely not. Ilara finally smiled. Your problem.
Tutorial available.
I closed my eyes. I knew happiness was temporary. Our daughter climbed onto my stomach and began enthusiastically pressing buttons only she could see. Ilara continued reading. Very far away, a small mountain exploded. I opened one eye. Was that important? Ilara looked toward the horizon. Probably. I closed my eye again.
System notice. Tomorrow accepted.
For once, the system and I agreed.